So then they said, can you give us 3 more songs? And I said, well, I can't. I have no money, absolutely. But I scrounged together whatever I had and gave them 3 more songs, and they loved those. So they said, well, here's Dave's address, and go to his house and meet. And then he said, yeah, I want to make a record with these songs. And so those songs that you hear on that record were just ideas I'd had trying to, get in the door.
That's incredible. And so what was that like for you? You were such a young man at the time, and you were already a Van Halen fan. To be invited to Dave's house, was that nerve-wracking?
It was incredibly nerve-wracking. It was incredibly nerve-wracking. So it was, it was, I can't believe it. And, you never saw Van Halen out. You never saw Dave out. You never saw Eddie out. They just weren't those people that you would see out at clubs or anything like that.
Right.
So it was like so strange, it was just so surreal. That was a very strange situation. It was an honor because I used to listen to this thing called, they did this thing on Memorial Day, this Van Halen Memorial Day weekend thing.
Sure.
The Lost Weekend thing on the radio. And
right.
I would take over this radio station and I would listen to it. And then we did one, and I have a CD of it.
Wow.
And it was on the radio, but it was so strange to think, oh my God, I used to listen to this, with Van Halen taking over the radio station, and me and Dave did that. And it's so weird. I gotta put that on YouTube or something.
That would be great. Yeah, the fans would love to hear that. So now that album was so heralded when it came out critically. People were like, oh my God, Dave is back. This is a perfect comeback album. But I guess you guys didn't have the backing of like a big record company to push it, right?
Well, here's the truth. This is what is so cool. Dave was way ahead of his time if you look at it now. So every one of those CDs was made by Dave.
Wow.
He made all those CDs, him and Kieran and Ed Anderson. Ed Anderson used to be security for Van Halen.
Sure.
And, he made all those himself. So everyone you see and hear made by him.
Wow.
And it was, What Was That Records?
Right.
And that's just Dave.
Wow.
And because everyone's doing that nowadays.
Right.
Everyone's making their own CDs.
Sure.
There's no record companies anymore. And that's how ahead of the time he was.
Sure.
And those songs, I just love those songs. I mean, if it wasn't me, I'd be a fan of those songs.
Right. Absolutely. And so now tell me, how did you and Dave connect? What was he like to work with?
He was very hands-on with everything. He knew every drum beat, every guitar hit, every note, everything. He was really hands-on with everything. And you don't get that. You think he's just party. Yeah, it sounds great, blah, blah, blah. No, he was very serious and really, really into everything that was going on. And we made that record live at 6 a.m. and just knocked it out live.
Wow. So when you first went to his house, what was that meeting like? What was he like to you? How did he respond?
It was exactly like, hey, he was very super nice. And he's like, I want to make a record, and we're going to make it just like we did in Van Halen. We're going to make it live, and we're going to do this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, I was blown away. I just couldn't believe I was in his house, and I kind of, everything was like, when he was saying, I was like, what? Because I was just like looking around going, oh my God, that's where they, did that photo shoot here, and this is where they did the Pretty Woman video, and this is where there's the car from Panama, and
right.
There's the motorcycle. So everything, I was like just taking out all this stuff in, and I was like, what'd you say? So it was like, it was crazy. And that's what we did. We made a record, we cut it live, and it took about no more than 2 weeks to record, mix, and master.
Wow. That's incredible. So now, tell me, Slam Dunk got a lot of attention, but then the album seemed to not take off further. I don't know why. What do you think happened with that whole thing?
Well, I think because we didn't tour it.
Yeah.
And, because I joined Marilyn Manson, and the rest was history.
Right. What made you join Manson and leave Dave?
Well, I talked to Dave about it, and he was like, yeah, I think you should do it. I think you should do it. Because we kind of just did this record for fun, you know? We were like, but I remember Dave saying, hey, come on over, you know, we're gonna figure out some stage moves. And I was like, what do you mean stage moves? He's like, you know, I'm going to like kick over your head and then I'm going to turn around and hey, and I was like, oh my God, that's so rad, you know, like how they did in Van Halen.
Right,
you know?
right.
So, but, yeah, I think the only reason why that didn't really take off is because we didn't tour it, because it is such a phenomenal record.
Sure. Why didn't you tour it? Like, Dave's such a road dog. Why wouldn't he tour that record?
Well, because I don't know why, but I joined Manson really quick after that.
Okay.
And I was on the road right away.
Gotcha. And so tell me, that album, a lot of fans complain it's not available on iTunes or Spotify. Do you know why?
I don't know why either.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
I was looking for it myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's amazing because everybody loves that record and has fond memories of it. So now
I'll talk to him about it and see, you know, and say, hey, well, let's just put it on, on iTunes. It'll take half hour.
Sure. So now, did you continue your relationship with him past that?
Absolutely. We talked all the time. We're close. We hung out. We wrote tons of songs. And yeah, he's my buddy. I still talk to him all the time.
That's awesome. And you guys made another album that is in the can right now called the California Sessions, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And hopefully that'll see the light of day soon. It's, it's completely up to Dave. So whatever he wants to do.
Right.
Songs are there, and the world is waiting.
Yeah. And so you recently played a clip with Eddie Trunk. I remember on your birthday, actually, I think it was. They were celebrating your birthday and promoting the new album, and you guys had a nice conversation. But you also were at the LA Invasion, and you played a clip on the air. And I was wondering, what made you play the clip? Like, is it that just like something you like wanted to get out there, or how did that come about?
Yeah. Because I love it so much.
Right.
I love it so much. There's, I'm just like, I'm a Dave fan, just like a lot of people out there. And I just, love the music we've created. So hopefully I'm keeping my fingers crossed for it to come out one day soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, did Dave know you played the clip?
Yeah, Dave knew I played the clip and he was like, that's cool, blah, 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 because people were talking about it and stuff like that. But he said, in the future we'll have a real release where people can hear it and all that stuff. But yeah, he was excited about it too. Just have a little blurb up there and people were talking about it and stuff.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever see Van Halen again?
I hope so. They're my favorite. They're one of my favorite. I really hope so. I love Eddie. I mean, he's our modern day Mozart.
Sure.
I believe. I really do.
Yeah.
And, I love the band. I love the songs. It's the soundtrack of my life. So I would love to see them again. What
kind of impact did Eddie have on your particular style?
Oh, my God. It's the same he had on millions of other musicians. He changed it. It was a game changer. And not on top of all that, him being such an incredible player, he was an incredible songwriter.
Sure.
And innovator too, with the striped guitar, and all that stuff. I mean, what a brain! It's incredible the ideas that have come out of that man. It's just that's why I really think he's our modern day Mozart.
Right. I remember you were talking about the California Sessions where you had to redo all the guitars last minute. You were going on tour. You remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because they were going to put drums to it when I was going on tour. And the engineer said, well, we can't do that because it's not to a click. And so I had to go in and replay, the whole album in like a few hours. And then I left the next morning.
Right. So what was the immediate rush on that? Because the album it's been sitting in the can for a while, right?
Well, I think because he wanted to get drums on it when I was gone.
Right.
So,
right.
And then, the Van Halens got together and it's like, great. I think, and I'm super happy about that. I'm so happy that he got back with the Van Halens.
Right.
And it was, is a dream come true.
When did that album get made? What do you remember roughly what year or when that was? Was it before he rejoined Van Halen or after?
It was before.
So before he came back in 2007?
You know what? I'm bad with years. I apologize. I'm really bad with years.
Okay.
Don't know exactly.
Okay. And in terms of the style, is it rockin' or is it all acoustic?
Well, there's all sorts of stuff. So it's acoustic, there's, rock, there's everything. So it's an amalgamation of everything.
And
sorry.
And now, who else played on the album with you?
Let's see. It was I think it was, let me see who did drums. I'm trying to think who did drums.
I had heard a rumor that it was Greg Bissonette on drums. Is that true?
Yeah, I think Bissonette did drums.
Right.
And Tuggle, Brett Tuggle, Tuggle Struggle, did keyboards, and he was on Skyscraper and all that stuff.
Right. And do you know who was on bass?
I did bass on it.
Oh, you did both bass and guitar.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's going to, I don't know how much of that's going to last. You know, and I don't know if they're going to want to bring someone in and do that, but I just laid bass down at the moment.
In terms of writing, did you co-write everything on there?
Yes. Yeah, me and Dave.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. Awesome. That's great. Yeah. And to tell me, in terms of the production, do you know who was handling the production?
Dave was, pretty much just producing it.
Okay. Excellent. That's great. So now you've played with so many iconic singers in addition to having your own solo career. I mean, you worked with Halford, you worked with Manson, you worked with Zombie, you worked with Dave, and you worked with Steve Perry. Those are 5 iconic singers it's probably a rare breed, and there's not many people who can say they work with all those 5 singers. So how would you describe what you got from each of them, what you learned from each of them?
Oh boy, I don't know. It's just, I'm like a sponge because these guys definitely with touring and making records and doing all that stuff. So I'm just a sponge when they talk. I try to listen because they know all the answers.
Sure.
And that's what I try to educate myself, because you can't get that from a book or a documentary or anything like that. This is coming from the horse's mouth, if you will.
Right, absolutely. And in terms of just Zombie and Manson, which you performed with back-to-back, and you're currently on tour playing with Zombie, and you guys are co-billing with Manson. So what's that like to be with the two of them on tour?
I mean, it's unbelievable that this is doing so well. Anybody that has a Zombie record has a Manson record and vice versa. It's a great night out.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't in the band, I would go see it. It's such a perfect billing.
That's true. The one thing I also enjoy about your solo career, in addition to your work with Manson and Zombie and stuff like that, is you always approach everything, John, as not just a musician, but a fan. You obviously are a very big fan of music and other bands, and you make that very well known, and you consider the fans even when making your product. Like, for example, I had heard that in September you're releasing a special edition of Invasion that's coming out. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's, I always do I want to make it good, because I'm a consumer too.
Right.
I'm a fan of music, and I do this, that, and the other thing. So I try to just take it to the next level. I stop and shake a hand and take a picture, and, that's what it's all about,
Sure.
People will always remember that, but they'll always remember if someone isn't nice.
Yeah.
I remember when I met this person. And I never want to be like that. It's a lot easier to be nice than it is to not be nice.
Absolutely. Your name, John 5, which is a nickname I guess Manson gave you, correct?
That's correct.
And what does the 5 symbolize?
It's I was the 5th member in the band, and it's also a story in the Bible.
Oh, okay. Excellent. That's cool. And when you left Manson, you decided to stick with that because people had already known you as John 5?
Yes, exactly. It's just like Ace changed his name back to Paul Frehley.
Right.
You know, everyone knows him as Ace Frehley. Not that I'm ever